Pay attention. What you are about to hear will shake everything you thought you knew about human history. In 2025, something extraordinary fell from the sky in Buga, Colombia. An object that, if the full truth is ever revealed, will rewrite every history book ever written. Get ready, because what they found defies logic, defies science, and there are powerful people who want this to stay buried forever. It started in March 2025, in the city of Buga, in the Valle del Cauca department of Colombia. Witnesses pulled out their phones, trembling, as they filmed a metallic spherical object moving across the sky in sharp, impossible zigzag patterns, movements that no known aircraft, drone, or natural phenomenon can perform. This was not a balloon. This was not space debris. This was something that moved with purpose. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it descended and landed. Word spread fast. Very fast. A local farmer, who would later be known only as Don Jose, was the one who recovered the object. And from the moment he touched it, nothing would ever be the same. The artifact, now called the Buga sphere, became one of the most intensely debated cases in the history of modern ufology. But here's the thing. What the mainstream discussion is missing goes far deeper than anyone is letting on. The truth behind this object is not just mysterious. It is world-changing. So what exactly is the Buga sphere? Let's talk about what we can actually see. The object is larger than a basketball. Its surface is silver, metallic, and flawless, with engravings that look eerily similar to electronic circuits or microchip blueprints. There are no visible welds, no joints, no seams, no sign of any manufacturing process that human engineers currently use or have ever used. Radiologist Dr. Jose Luis Velasquez, one of the first specialists to examine it with imaging equipment, stated clearly that the internal structure does not resemble anything we have ever produced. And the inside? 3 concentric layers of dense metallic material surrounding a central core that researchers have nicknamed the chip. 3 layers. A central processor. Built without any tool marks. In an object that came from the sky. But the most disturbing detail of all, the one that keeps independent researchers awake at night, is this: 31 perfectly symmetrical openings distributed along the sphere's equatorial belt. 31 holes, each precisely placed, each perfectly identical. That is not a natural formation. That is engineering. Intentional engineering. Now let's talk about the analysis, because this is where things get really explosive. Preliminary material studies on the Buga sphere identified aluminum and silicon among its primary components. On the surface, that might not sound alarming. But consider this: refined metallic aluminum as an industrial product was only developed in the 19th century. The controlled application of silicon in technology is even more recent. And yet, laboratory dating using accelerator mass spectrometry, AMS, conducted at a facility in the United States placed the object at approximately 12,560 years old. 12,560 years. That predates the Egyptian pyramids by nearly 10,000 years. That predates every known organized civilization on Earth. And it places this object squarely in a time period when, according to everything we were taught in school, humans were barely learning to make basic stone tools. But here is the crucial detail that the mainstream media consistently ignores, and that many researchers gloss over without explanation. The AMS dating was not performed on the metallic body of the sphere. It was performed on an organic resin, a sticky, viscous substance found adhered to the surface of the object. Not the metal. The resin. Why does this matter? Because it means the sphere itself has never been directly dated. We know the resin is ancient. But what about the metal? What about those 3 concentric layers? What about the central core? Those questions remain officially unanswered. And that silence is deafening. Which brings us to the discovery that changes everything. That resin is not just a footnote. That resin is the story. Chemical analysis revealed that the substance carries signatures consistent with plant species native to the Valle del Cauca region, the same region where the sphere was found. But here is what makes it truly extraordinary: the properties of this resin should not have survived for thousands of years. Organic material degrades. It breaks down. it disappears. And yet this resin not only survived, it maintained chemical properties that, by all scientific logic, should have deteriorated long ago. Two possibilities exist. Either the resin is recent, meaning someone accessed the sphere and applied it deliberately in modern times. Or the resin is genuinely ancient, meaning we are looking at a preservation process or a chemical reaction that current science simply cannot explain. But what makes this case truly explosive is not just the age of the resin. It is where the resin was found. It covered the 31 holes. All of them. Exactly. Not randomly smeared across the surface. Not scattered in patches. It blocked, precisely and completely, every single one of those 31 equatorial openings. Independent researchers theorize that these holes function as energy channels, conduits for absorbing or releasing electromagnetic, magnetic, or even cosmic energy from the surrounding environment. According to these investigators, the Buga sphere operated as a living receiver for millennia, a machine that fed on environmental energy like a battery that never runs out. And then the resin blocked every single channel. The machine went silent. Was it an accident? An electrical discharge during testing that caused an organic reaction? Or was it something far more unsettling, a deliberate act by someone who understood exactly how this device worked and chose to shut it down? Because the precision is impossible to ignore. You do not accidentally seal 31 specific energy channels on an ancient artifact without knowing what you are doing. That kind of precision implies knowledge. It implies intent. Some researchers have gone further, suggesting the resin functioned as a chemical key, a way of switching off advanced technology that someone, at some point in history, decided was too dangerous or too revealing to remain active. A probe. A surveillance device. A global monitoring system. Silenced. And the connections do not stop there. The date of 12,000 years places the Buga sphere in the same era as Göbekli Tepe, the massive ceremonial complex discovered in southeastern Turkey, which has shattered conventional archaeological timelines. The carved columns of Göbekli Tepe contain sophisticated astronomical records, representations of constellations, and what some researchers identify as a primitive zodiac, knowledge that a supposedly primitive civilization had absolutely no business possessing. Could the Buga sphere and Göbekli Tepe be fragments of the same lost world? Two pieces of evidence pointing to a civilization that understood energy, astronomy, and advanced materials science 12,000 years ago, a civilization that was wiped out, forgotten, and deliberately erased from the official record? The timing also aligns with one of the most catastrophic events in Earth's recent geological history, the Younger Dryas, a sudden and violent climate disruption that occurred between 12,900 and 11,700 years ago, which some scientists associate with a comet impact. If the Buga sphere was built to monitor global energy fields, geophysical changes, or cosmic events, then it may have been activated precisely to track the catastrophe that ended the civilization that created it. Now, we cannot ignore the controversy surrounding this case, because honest investigation demands it. The central figure controlling access to the Buga sphere is Jamie Mawson, a Mexican journalist and ufologist with a long and troubled history of sensationalist claims that later collapsed under scrutiny. Mawson has assumed custody of the sphere, funded private security for it, and organized press conferences to present the analyses. Critics have noted that the chain of custody has been inconsistent at best, the object reportedly kept under maximum security one day and displayed casually on a studio table the next. The press conference held to announce the dating results was criticized for the absence of independent journalists and the lack of genuinely new scientific data. This association does not prove the sphere is a hoax, but it does demand that we apply rigorous skepticism to every claim made about it, and it raises a legitimate question about why no official Colombian scientific institution has taken full, transparent, independent control of the investigation. And then, in June 2025, the story expanded beyond Colombia entirely. An anonymous witness in China reported filming a metallic sphere performing identical low-altitude flight maneuvers near the Sheoku Reservoir on June 5. The object vanished after 3 short videos were recorded. When the witness later saw images of the Buga sphere circulating on social media, they recognized the similarity immediately and came forward. One sphere, then 2. On opposite sides of the planet. Here is what we know for certain: the Buga sphere is a real, physical object of artificial manufacture, with no visible conventional fabrication marks, a complex internal structure, and an ancient organic resin that blocked its 31 equatorial openings with extraordinary precision. The rest, the age of the metal, the true function of those openings, the identity of its creators, remains officially unresolved. But the pattern of selective disclosure, inconsistent custody, and institutional silence raises a question that refuses to go away. What are they hiding? Are you ready to face the truth that conventional science refuses to accept? Drop your thoughts in the comments and share this video before it disappears. Because some questions, apparently, are not supposed to be asked.